Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NHL, and Major League Baseball spring training games and look ahead to today's games in each sport. Masked Singer Season 5 premieres tonight. We're going to preview it, and I'm going to give out some predictions on who could possibly be on the show, the latest news and notes, and my best bet of the day. We're going to start with college basketball as we do each and every day of late because this is March, as we know. Not a busy slate from yesterday, and then we will look ahead to what is a much busier slate today than it was yesterday. So, without further ado, here we go. Miami over Pitt, 79-73 in the ACC first round. Duke over BC, 86-51 in the ACC first round. Iona over Quinnipiac, 72-48 in the Metro Atlantic first round. Southeast Louisiana over McNeese, 71-68 in the Southland first round. Long Beach State over Cal State Northridge, 85-63 in the Big West first round. Drexel over Elon, 63-56 in the CAA final as Drexel advances to the Big Dance. Notre Dame over Wake, 80-77 in the ACC first round. Mount St. Mary's over Bryant, 73-68 in the NEC final as Mount St. Mary's punches its tickets to the Big Dance. By the way, Notre Dame had a buzzer beater 3 from deep by Trey Wirtz, so I had to mention that. Cleveland State over Oakland, 80-69 Horizon League final as Cleveland State goes dancing. And yet again, Cleveland State cashes in for my best bet. Fairfield over Manhattan, 59-58 in overtime in the MAC first round. Or Metro Atlantic, I should say. Rice over Southern Miss, 61-52 in the CUSA first round. Oral Roberts over North Dakota State, 75-72 in the Summit League final as Oral Roberts goes dancing. Houston Baptist over Incarnate Word, 80-68 in the Southland first round. Cal Poly over Cal State Fullerton, 87-82 in the Big West first round. And number 1 Gonzaga over BYU, 88-78 in the WCC final as Gonzaga is all but locked up the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Now the question is where's BYU? Florida International Middle Tennessee was supposed to be a first-round game. That got canceled as Middle Tennessee advances due to the uncontested game. FIU had some COVID issues. Now looking ahead to today's games, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, Big Sky first round, Sacramento State and Northern Colorado. I'm in Northern Colorado by 4, total 138. And FanDuel has, let's see what FanDuel has for this game. 3 and 132.5. I love the over. That is way too low of a number. 12 o'clock p.m. ACC Network. ACC second round. NC State Syracuse. I'm at Syracuse 1.5, total 144.5. Females 2.5 and 146.5. Gotta take the under. I think that's a little high. Syracuse's defense is a little bit better than that. Although I think NC State is very solid on both ends. 2 o'clock p.m. on the Big Sky first round. Northern Arizona, Portland State. I'm at Portland State by 4, total 135.5, and it's 6 and 130.5. I'm going to take yet again another over. I think that's low. Mountain West first round, San Jose State, Wyoming. I'm at Wyoming 8, total 147.5, and it's 12 and 150.5. I'm going to take San Jose State plus the 12. I don't think Wyoming's very good. I think that is a high number. 2:30 ACC Network, Miami Clemson, ACC second round. I'm at Clemson 10, total 132.5. Meanwhile, it's 9 and 126.5. Oh my God, another over. That's very low. I think that Clemson's well-rounded on both sides, but more so on defense and offense. But Miami's defense is not very good. I think this is going to be the 130, so give me over 126.5. That's low. 3 o'clock Fox Sports 1, Marquette, Georgetown, Big East first round. I'm at Marquette 3.5, total 143. Meanwhile, it is Marquette 3, total 143.5. I'm a half point off on each side. This is terrible. At gunpoint, what do I do? For the podcast sake, I'll lay with Marquette, but I won't bet it. Southland quarterfinal, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Jackson State. I'm at Jackson State 21, total 132.5. Meanwhile, it's 8.5 and 125.5. Oh my God. I'm laying it with Jackson State. That is ridiculously low. Pine Bluff's terrible. 4 o'clock Pac-12 Network, Washington State and Arizona State. Pac-12 first round. I'm at Arizona State 5.5 total 144.5. Meanwhile, it is 1 and 144.5. I am laying the 1 with Arizona State. Yes, they've had a down year. Remy Martin missed a lot of time, but Bobby Hurley's just the better coach here. I think he'll get his team ready. I'm laying the 1, even though it's juiced at minus 116. 4:30 MWC first round Air Force UNLV. I'm at UNLV 11.5 total 134. Meanwhile, it's 12 and 127.5. I'm taking the over. That is way too low. 5 o'clock, Idaho, Montana, Big Sky, first round. I'm at Montana, 18.5 total 137. Meanwhile, 13.5 and 131.5. I'm a big edge on Montana in the over, but I'm going to lay it with Montana because I feel better about it because Idaho just is terrible. Iona and Siena, I'm at Siena 8 total 137.5. FanDuel does not have it. Neither does ESPN. But anyway, if Iona is favored by more than 9.5, I'll take Siena. And if Iona is favored anything less than 6.5, I'll lay with Iona. If the total is anything higher than 139, I'll bet the under, or anything lower than 136, I'm betting the over. Loyola, Maryland and Army, 5:30 CBS Sports Network, Patriot League semifinal. I'm at Army 2.5 total 143. Well, it's 2.5 and 135.5. I'm taking the over, even though it's juiced at minus 116. I almost said laying it with Army. No thanks. I'm staying away from the side. 6 o'clock, Southland second round, Southeastern Louisiana and New Orleans. I'm at New Orleans 7.5 total 149.5. Meanwhile, it's 6 and 148.5. I'm not going to bet it, but I'll lay it with New Orleans for the podcast's sake because the numbers are too close. 6 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, Big East first round, Butler, Xavier. I'm at Xavier 2.5 total 138.5, about 7 and 133. Ooh, I don't know whether to go over or Butler. I know the over's juiced. I hate to do this. I'm taking Butler. Yes, they play at that slow pace. They play good defense, but they just stink offensively. This makes me nervous, but I'm going to take the 7 with Butler. I hate the pick. 6:30 ESPN, Big 12 first round, Kansas State, TCU. I'm at TCU 5 total 135. It's 3.5 and 128. I'm taking the over. That's way too low. CUSA second round, Charlotte, UTSA. I'm at UTSA 7 total 140. Meanwhile, it's 5 and 139.5. I'm laying it with UTSA there. ACC second round on the ACC network. Duke, Louisville. I'm at Louisville 2.5 total 141.5. Meanwhile, it is Duke 2.5 total 140.5. Wrong team's favored. Oh my God. Stop overrating Duke. They're not even going to make the tournament unless they win the ACC title game. Maybe even if they make the final but lose. Even if they make the final and lose, I don't see how they make it. All they have to do is win the conference championship, but they're not doing that. Louisville's just better. Chris Mack's a good coach. I'm taking Louisville plus the 2.5 and plus 124 on the money line. Love it. Big Ten Network, Big Ten first round, Minnesota and Northwestern. I'm at Minnesota 1.5 total 144.5. Meanwhile, it's Northwestern 2.5 total 141.5. I'm taking Minnesota plus 2.5 and minus 116 and plus 120 straight up. I think that Minnesota's the better team. I know both of these teams have fell apart at the end of the year, but I just trust Richard Pitino's team more than Chris Collins' team. I think that this is the loser leaves town match for both of these head coaches. Heck, both these head coaches might be fired regardless of this result. 7 o'clock, Pac-12 Network, Pac-12 first round, Washington and Utah. I am at Utah 8.5 total 140.5. Meanwhile, it is 8 and 145. I am going to go with the under. I think that is low, especially for these two teams that struggle offensively. CUSA second round, Rice Marshall. I'm at Marshall 11, total 150.5. Mills 9.5, total 157. That's way too high for a total. I'm taking the under. I just don't think that Rice is that good offensively. So I'm going to go under 157. I think that's way too high. Texas A&M and Vanderbilt, SEC first round, SEC Network. I am at A&M by 6, total 137.5. Meanwhile, it's Vanderbilt by 1, total 132. I'm taking A&M plus the 1 and plus 1 or minus 104 on the money line. I won't be shocked if A&M closes as a favorite. Mountain West first round, New Mexico and Fresno State. I'm at Fresno 10, total 132.5. Meanwhile, it is 8.5 and 126.5. I am going to go with the over, 6-point differential, and the value's on the over at minus 106. Next up, you got Bucknell Colgate, 7:30 on the CBS Sports Network, Patriot League semifinal. I'm at Colgate 12.5, total 151.5. Meanwhile, it is 11.5 and 156. Or 11.5 and 156. I'm taking the under. That's a very, very high total. Fairfield Monmouth. I'm at Monmouth 11.5, total 140.5. I don't see a side or a total on either side. If Monmouth is favored by more than 13, I'm taking Fairfield. And if they're favored by less than 10, I'm taking Monmouth. If the total is less than 139, I'm taking the over. And if it's higher than 142, I'm taking the under. 9 o'clock, Southland second round, Houston Baptist and Lamar. I'm at Lamar 5.5, total 145.5. Meanwhile, it is 5.5 and 145. Right there. But for the sake of the podcast, I'm not going to bet it, but I'll take the over. Fox Sports 1, DePaul Providence, Big East first round. I'm at Providence 10.5, total 138.5. Meanwhile, it is 7 and 132.5. I am going to take yet another over. That is pretty low, although it's juiced at minus 116. ACC Network, ACC second round, Notre Dame and Carolina. I'm at Carolina 10, total 145.5. 6.5 and 149.5. I'm going to lay to 6.5 with Carolina. They're just better than Notre Dame. Notre Dame won't be shocked that they're competitive for a little bit, but Carolina's just more talented, and I think that Carolina wants to secure themselves a spot in the big dance. Big Ten Network, Nebraska, Penn State, Big Ten first round. I project Penn State by 7, total 141. Meanwhile, it's 6 and 145.5. I'm taking the under. That's ridiculously low and ridiculously high for a total in that game. 9:30 ESPN, Big 12 first round, Iowa, number 25, Oklahoma. Or against, I should say. This is at the T-Mobile Center. I'm at Oklahoma 17.5, total 143. Meanwhile, it's 11.5, total 141.5. I'm going to lay to 11.5 with Oklahoma at minus 116. CUSA second round, UTEP FAU. I'm at FAU by 3, total 138.5. It's UTEP 4, total 136.5. Wrong team's favored. I'm taking FAU plus the 4 and plus 148 on the money line. Mississippi Valley State and Prairie View in the SWAC quarterfinal. I'm at Prairie View 24, total 139, and it's 26.5 and 140.5. So I'm a 1.5 off each way. Actually, no. I'm at 2.5 points off and then a 1.5 off. I hate to do this, but I have to take Valley State at plus 26.5 and minus 106 just to cover it out the win. 10 o'clock, Pac-12 Network, Pac-12 first round, Cal Stanford. I'm at Stanford 13.5, total 137. Meanwhile, it's 6 and 131.5. I'm laying it with Stanford. I think that number is kind of low. Cal's just not good. And last but not least, USA second round, 10 o'clock. Middle Tennessee, North Texas. I'm at North Texas 13.5, total 132. Meanwhile, it's 16 and 126. I'm taking the over. I think that total is pretty low in that game. Now I'm going to move on to hockey, as we'll go over what was a mega slate from last night, and then we'll look ahead to what is not that heavy in terms of games. Penguins over the Rangers 4-2. Isles over the Bruins 2-1 in a shootout. Flyers over the Sabres 5-4 in a shootout. Caps over the Devils 5-4 in overtime on a game winner by Jacob Vrana. Canes over the Preds 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Jordan Staal. Panthers over the Blue Jackets 4-2. Jets over the Leafs 4-3. Lightning over the Red Wings 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Blake Holman. And the Stars over the Blackhawks 6-1. Today's games, 7 o'clock, NBCSN, Golden Knights Wild. That's early for that type of game because it's 6 o'clock in Minneapolis. But Rangers Pens was 6 o'clock yesterday, and it was 6 o'clock, obviously, in Pittsburgh. Vegas is minus 120, the Wild are plus 102, over under 5.5, overs minus 110, unders minus 112. Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 210, Wild plus 1.5 is minus 260. Tough one here. The under's a little juiced. The Wild intrigued me, but I'm going to play it safe. Take the slightly juiced under at 5.5 and minus 112. 8 o'clock, Sens Oilers. The Oilers are minus 230. The Sens are plus 190. Over under 6.5. Overs juiced minus 118. Unders minus 104. Ottawa plus 1.5 is minus 140. Edmonton minus 1.5 is plus 116. Tough one here. The over's too juiced for my liking. I'm going to play contrarian and go under. Let's say Matt Murray plays well. And let's say that whomever's in net for Edmonton plays well. Maybe this is a 4-2 game or a 3-2 game and it stays under. So we'll go under 6.5 at minus 104. 9 o'clock, the Coyotes and the Avalanche. The Avs are minus 220. The Coyotes are plus 184. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 104. The unders minus 128. The Coyotes plus 1.5 is minus 162. The Avs minus 1.5 is plus 134. This is an over I really like. Arizona's been a weird over team lately, and I like Colorado offensively. Yes, they're missing some players, but I like their offense. I'm going to go over 5.5 at plus 104. I think that this could be a 3-2 game, and the empty netter decides it, like the Rangers and the Penguins game from last night. Although that Rangers-Pens total, I think, was at 6 or 6.5. 9:30 NBCSN Kings-Ducks. That's a good game for NBCSN, considering that these two teams have been pleasant surprises. The Kings are minus 134. The Ducks are plus 114. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 104. Unders minus 128. The Kings minus 1.5 is plus 198. The Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 245. I'm going to go with the Ducks to win their second in a row at plus 114. Maybe it's John Gibson again and Jonathan Quick. Two good goalies, but the under is underinflated, but I would have preferred the under, but I don't think these two teams will go over again. I'm going to go with the value with the Ducks at plus 114. And last but not least, 11 o'clock tonight, the Canadiens and the Canucks. The Canadiens minus 154, the Canucks are plus 130. Over under 6.5 is overs plus 108, unders minus 132. Canadiens minus 1.5 is plus 116, the Canucks plus 1.5 is minus 194. I'm going to continue to ride a good underdog. An underdog that's been good to me recently, and that's the Vancouver Canucks. I'm going to take them at plus 130 to win outright against the Canadiens. I don't love this Canadiens team. And I think that the Canucks have a little bit of mojo going. Maybe it's Thatcher Demko today. Let's hope so. Let's bank on Thatcher Demko being in net and the Canadiens falling off a little bit. I think that Demko can go toe-to-toe with Carey Price. Let me just see here for a second. Yeah, it was Carey Price and Thatcher Demko. Let's hope it's that matchup again. I think it will be. And let's go Canucks plus 130 to win outright at home against the Montreal Canadiens. Now we'll move on to Major League Baseball spring training. We will go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to today's games. Tigers over the Yanks 6-5. Jay Bruce and Gary Sanchez homer in that game for the Yankees. Twins over the Orioles 1-0 in 7. Rays over the Red Sox 11-3. Pirates over the Braves 10-1. Blue Jays over the Phils 4-1. Mets over the Cardinals 5-3. Indians over the Rangers 9-2. Joey Gallo homered in that game. And Nick Solak did too. Cubs over the A's 8-9 or 9-8 and 7. Matt Chapman, Jock Peterson were notables that homered in this game. Pods over the White Sox 4-2. Will Myers homered in that game. Rocks over the Diamondbacks 11-4 and 8. Brendan Rodgers, Carson Kelly, Ryan McMahon, Trevor Story, C.J. Crone, Christian Walker all homered. A lot of big names in that game. Mariners over the Royals 6-3. Brewers over the Giants 13-7. Christian Yelich homered in that game. Avisail Garcia 2. Nats and Astros tied at 4. Victor Robles homered in that game, and the Dodgers over the Reds 5-3. Nick Senzel homered in that game for the Reds, and Chris Taylor homered in that game for the Dodgers. Today's games: 1 o'clock, Braves, Red Sox, Tigers, Phillies, Twins, Rays, Cards, Nats, Blue Jays, O's, 3 o'clock, Angels, Indians, Cubs, Giants, Reds, Royals, Brewers, Athletics, Pods, Rockies, Rangers, Mariners, 6 o'clock, Astros, Marlins, 6:30, Pirates, Yankees, and 8 o'clock, Diamondbacks, Dodgers. Now we will do a Season 5 preview of The Masked Singer. I think it's going to be a fun season. The very significant thing to keep notice is that Nick Cannon will miss the first part of the season because he tested positive for COVID-19. And the person that will be filling in for him will be Nicey Nash. I think they made a mistake. I think that Craig Robinson should be filling in. But what if Craig Robinson's on The Masked Singer? Ooh. Craig Robinson better be on The Masked Singer then if he can't be the substitute host, because I would pick Craig Robinson over Nicey Nash, because Craig Robinson did a great job being the host of The Masked Dancer. So I made a list of 18 contestants or possible contestants. I don't know how many contestants are this season. We'll find out tonight. There are some interesting costumes. I know that there's a raccoon. There's another monster. And there are a couple others. There's another double costume, which should be interesting. So, here's some names I have written down. And if I get one of these correct, I'm going to be very happy. All right. TJ Watt of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The case for TJ Watt is that it's not JJ Watt, it's the brother. I know the Masked Singer likes to do the thing where it's always the second fiddle. TJ's the second fiddle to JJ. Obviously, TJ, star player on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's another thing is that it's a Steelers player. And that's obviously a big market or a big brand team in the NFL. And obviously, TJ and JJ hosted that show on Fox last year. So that's the case for TJ. Emma Watson, who's an actress, she's best known for playing Belle in the live-action Beauty and the Beast movie that came out 4 years ago. She's been in some other movies as well, including that movie, The Circle, which I did not think was good. Tom Hanks was in that movie as well. Tom Hanks on The Masked Singer would be a lot of fun. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson as the couple would be really, really cool, but I doubt that. But it doesn't have to be a couple in the double mask. That's a fact. Meredith Vieira, TV personality. She's hosted a lot of shows in her life. It'd be pretty cool to see Meredith on this show. And it's just someone I think is always overshadowed in her career due to the likes of Katie Couric and Matt Lauer. Shania Twain. She was a big-time country singer in the late 90s and early 2000s. I think she could be this season's Leanne Rimes. Obviously, her hits, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Gonna Get You Good, Up, Forever and For Always, just to name a few. Alfonso Ribeiro. Many people thought that this was the Frog in season 3. I think I picked Ribeiro for Masked Dancer, but it didn't come in through fruition. But there's always a game show host on there, and he's a game show host, and obviously he's an actor as well. He was in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So it'd be pretty neat to see Ribeiro on the show. Ryan Murphy, Olympic gold medalist swimmer. I know many people think Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte, but don't forget about Ryan Murphy. He's darn good in his own right. Steve Martin. Steve Martin hasn't been around in a hot minute. Obviously, they had that quarantined Father of the Bride thing of a couple months ago, which was pretty neat. With him and Diane Keaton, Martin Short, and Kimberly Williams Paisley. So it'd be pretty cool to see him on this show. Because I think that there's going to be a couple big names on there, and I think that Steve Martin's one of them. I think Shania Twain's another, and I have a couple others as well. Aubrey O'Day, she was in the girl band Danity Kane. Obviously, her and Nicole Scherzinger were in the same genre because Danity Kane and the Pussycat Dolls were peaking at the same time. Jonathan Knight, New Kids on the Block. There has not been somebody from New Kids yet. We had a Backstreet Boy. We had NSYNC. We have not gotten somebody from New Kids yet. And I think that it's going to be somebody that I think was overlooked in Jonathan Knight because everyone's going to point to Joey Mack or Donnie Wahlberg. Andy Grammer. He's a singer. He was big in last decade, in the middle last decade. He sang Good to Be Alive and Honey, I'm Good. So it'd be pretty neat to see him on the show. Renee Elise Goldsberry, actress and Hamilton star. I think that they'll get somebody from the Broadway realm. And I'm going to go with Renee Elise Goldsberry, who is in the Hamilton movie. Jimmy Donaldson, as many of you know as Mr. Beast, he is a YouTuber. And he's very successful right now as he has his own little chain restaurants that you see in actual chain restaurants that are specifically for companies like DoorDash and Uber Eats. And it's like Mr. Beast's Burgers or something like that. Let me check. Because I think they'd be pretty... Yeah, Mr. Beast Burger. So it'd be cool to see Mr. Beast himself, Jimmy Donaldson, on The Masked Singer. I think that's a really good pick. Elena Deladon. We have yet to have a female basketball player. And I think that Deladon would be a good fit for this show. She's tall. She's talented. I know when people think WNBA, they'll think Brittany Griner, Diana Taurasi, somebody like that. So why not Elena Deladon? Dixie D'Amelio. She's a TikTok star. They guessed her sister Charlie as the tulip on The Masked Dancer. And I think that there's a chance that Dixie could be on this show. I could see a world where Dixie and Jimmy Donaldson is the double costume. Because they're both stars in their own way. Donaldson, obviously the YouTuber, and D'Amelio, obviously from TikTok. So Dixie D'Amelio and Jimmy Donaldson as the duo costume would be pretty neat. Chris Christie. You got to have a politician in there, right? Obviously the former governor of New Jersey. We had Sarah Palin on the show in season 3. So it'd be cool to get another politician there. Why not Chris Christie? I think that'd be really, really cool. And obviously he's very, very popular. He obviously was on ABC's election coverage last year during the election. And he's someone that's big into sports too. He's a big Cowboys fan. And you hear him call into sports radio in the New York metro area, sometimes specifically on WFAN. So Chris Christie's a big enough name that would get people excited. And that'd be a good get for the show, I think. Rick Carey. He is from the Baha Men. Obviously, the Baha Men was a band in the late 90s, early 2000s who let the dogs out and Move It Like This. Kristen Bell. actress and Frozen star. A lot of people have guessed her in the past, and Idina Menzel is somebody that was always guessed in the past as well. But I think Idina Menzel's the one that everybody points to. Obviously, she's Elsa. And Kristen Bell is somebody that I think is super talented. Like I said, she would be an excellent fit for this show. And she was Anna in Frozen. So it'd be cool to see Kristen Bell on the show. I think that'd get kids excited. And to me, who I think is going to be the biggest celebrity on the show this season in terms of name recognition and what she's done recently, and that is Paula Abdul, obviously 80s star singer in early 90s as well. And she's a judge on The Masked Dancer. I have a feeling that one of the Masked Dancer people are going to be on the season, and I'm going to predict that it's Paula Abdul. She's a great singer, and I can see Paula winning it too. And I could see her disguising her voice and making people think she's Madonna. Maybe she will make people think she's Debbie Gibson, among other singers in her genre, maybe Blondie or something like that. We had Taylor Dane last season in The Masked Singer, so I think that Paula Abdul fits like that kind of mold, and obviously we know her from Masked Dancer as well. So, should be a fun season, and if I get any of these 18 people correct, I'll put my hand on my back and pat it a little bit and say, I called that. So yeah, we will recap tonight's episode on tomorrow's show. Now the latest news and notes. A lot of stuff going on, obviously, that we got to get to before I do Best Bet. The breaking news that just came out moments ago is that the NFL and the Players Union agreed to a salary cap of $182.5 million and 8% decrease from last year. I think that this is going to hurt some teams that need to re-sign certain players. I think that this is not good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have a lot of players to bring back. Although they managed to bring back Levante David, Chris Godwin's on the tag. Now the question is, do they bring back Shaq Barrett? So that's the one that's left for them. Let's see if they bring him back. The NHL and the Players Association won't track vaccinations, as they are not currently tracking which players or how many have received COVID-19 vaccinations. So that's interesting. I don't think that the NBA is going to track either, because LeBron James came out and said that it's not your business if you know whether I get the vaccine or not. Like, I'm just paraphrasing here, but that's pretty much what he told the media. The Hoops Hall of Fame finalists were announced. There's so many good candidates this year. Last year, obviously, we had Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and the late Kobe Bryant. The finalists: Rick Adelman, Chris Bosh, Michael Cooper, Tim Hardaway, Marquez Johnson, Paul Pierce, Bill Russell, who was enriched as a player in 1975, Ben Wallace, Chris Webber, Jay Wright. And then on the women's side, Leta Andrews, Yolanda Griffith, Lauren Jackson, and Marianne Stanley. So congratulations to all the finalists this year. Franchise tags. There were obviously franchise tags yesterday, which obviously was the deadline. Here's the list: Justin Simmons, Marcus May, Brandon Scherf, Chris Godwin, Cam Robinson, Leonard Williams, Allen Robinson, Taylor Moton, and Marcus Williams. All good players. And we shall see if any of them get re-signed or not. And in terms of guys that were not tagged, Hassan Reddick, Hunter Henry, Kenny Golladay. Those are a lot of big names. And Aaron Jones. Those are 4 players that are names that are going to be free agents. And another player that's going to be a free agent is Malcolm Butler as the he was released from the Tennessee Titans, which should come to no surprise. I mean, he hasn't lived up to that contract since he signed it. Yankees reliever Zach Britton expected to miss at least a month after surgery to remove a bone chip from his left elbow. We talked about this on the podcast yesterday, how he was experiencing soreness in his elbow, and we said it wasn't good. But it's better than Tommy John surgery, and that's all that matters. So he should be back in May. So we'll see if the Yankees go out and sign like a Shane Green to help their bullpen. Big television-related news. ESPN and the NHL signed a major deal for TV, 7-year broadcast contract that includes the rights to the Stanley Cup Final. That is humongous news. Humongous. And they won't get all 7 Stanley Cup Finals, but apparently they're going to get 4. It's going to be interesting to see who ESPN picks for their broadcasters. It looks like that means ABC is going to be getting games as well. So NBC has a second fiddle now. So now ESPN is going to have all 4 professional sports again. Hockey, basketball, baseball, and football. Because obviously they have Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Baseball, and then they air baseball games throughout the week. NBA is like their prime because they have the NBA Finals on ABC and they have regular season games aired throughout the season on ESPN and ABC. And then obviously now hockey, which is pretty big news. And now the question is, like, what broadcasters will they pick? I think that Steve Levy should be the front runner to be the lead play-by-play man. He's outstanding at what he does. He's the Monday Night Football guy at the moment. So I think that Steve Levy will potentially have 2 jobs. I think John Buchacross is going to be having some games. Good for him. Don LaGreca has to be considered, who is the radio voice of the New York Rangers part-time, as he normally would be the substitute for Kenny Albert, when Kenny Albert has duties for NBC or Fox. And honestly, Kenny Albert can't be ruled out here for ABC. He cannot be ruled out because Kenny does the Rangers radio on ESPN 98.7 New York. Kenny Albert cannot be ruled out here, guys. I don't think he'll get it, but he certainly cannot be ruled out by any stretch of the imagination. So I think we'll see Steve Levy, John Buchacross, and Don LaGreca for play-by-play. I think you'll be seeing Linda Cohn do studio shows, Rick DiPietro do studio shows, and I think that both of those guys could be TV analysts, or both those people, I should say. Linda Cohn's obviously a female. So it would be pretty cool. Next time I have John on the podcast, Buchacross, I'm going to ask him about this because I'm sure he is very, very fired up over this news. So that is something to obviously keep an eye on. Cade Cunningham back tonight against West Virginia. Or I'm sorry, tomorrow night. That's when they play. So that's big news for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Natasha Cloud back to the Mystics, 3-year, $565,000 deal. So that is big for the Washington Mystics, who are trying to get back into contention. And last thing is that Myers Leonard used an anti-Semitic slur while streaming Call of Duty on Twitch, and he came out and apologized and said he was just wrong. And then the Heat put him on indefinite leave as the league will investigate. All right, so there you have it for the news and notes for the day. And now my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. I didn't really love anything on the board for today in college basketball, but I guess I'll pick something that jumps out. There are a lot of overs I liked. There are some unders I liked as well. Some low numbers with teams that shouldn't be that low of favorites as well. Best bet. Part of me wants to take Carolina against Notre Dame, but I think there's a chance that game is somewhat competitive. Oklahoma's juiced. Not going there. I'm going to go with the later game tonight. I'm going to lay the 6 with Stanford against Cal. I don't love it, but it's something that I could see playing out. So I'm going to lay the 6 with Stanford against Cal for my best bet. I just think that Cal isn't that good, and Stanford's just a little better, and I think that Stanford could win this game by double digits. So that's it for the show today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything from college basketball, NHL, and Major League Baseball spring training. Look ahead to tomorrow, the return of the NBA tomorrow, so I'll be back with second half lines and projections beginning tomorrow with the big slate in the NBA. We'll recap Masked Singer, and obviously I'll have my best bet for you as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.